In this week's brand new episode of Hill Climb Monsters in Project Cars 2, the glorious Porsche 908/03 Spyder takes on our fearsome Azure Coast Hill Climb course. But with 350 brake horsepower being produced by that glorious flat 8 engine, can this golden oldie spring a surprise or two? Let's go find out. What's going on, guys? My name is Bettinio and welcome back to Project Cars 2 and a brand new episode of Hill Climb Monsters. And this week's challenger, as you've already seen, is the Porsche 908/03 Spyder. And the reason I decided to go for this car this week is, well, we haven't done a Porsche in a while. The last one I can remember us doing was the 917/10 Can-Am car. And that, I think we did that not too long after the DLC was released. So it's been quite a while since we've done that. Maybe about a year since we've driven a Porsche on this series. So yeah, I think it's about time we got ourselves back into a Porsche and take it for a run around the Azure Coast. So yeah, let's jump into the episode proper though, and we'll start off as we always do by taking a look at some of the stats. So produced in 1971, it falls into the vintage prototype B category. Is rear-wheel drive, of course. It has a 5-speed H-pattern gearbox bolted to a 3-litre flat 8 engine, producing 350 brake horsepower. 0 to 60 comes up in 3.9 seconds, and it will go all the way to 172 miles an hour, providing you've got a stretch of road long enough. The most impressive stat here, though, for me, though, is the weight, 1,245 pounds, so it's light as a feather in race car terms. As you would imagine, though, also from a car from 1971, it doesn't feature any ABS, stability control, traction control, none of that gubbins. Control difficulty is 2, and cornering speed is 2. So yeah, fairly impressive all around. Like I said, the most impressive one is the weight. When you consider the Aston Martin Vulcan from last week, all carbon fibre, stripped out, no mod cons, it's just about going fast. That was nearly 3,000 pounds in terms of weight. So yeah, near enough 3 times the weight of this thing. So this thing is built to be very light, very nimble, very good in the corners. And yeah, that's sort of what from what I've read. Originally, Porsche were trying to get the 917 and the 917K to be sort of a one-size-fits-all, but it just wasn't working. In places like the Targa Florio or the 1,000 kilometers of the Nürburgring, it just wasn't as good as it potentially could be. So that's where this came in to fill the void. So this was geared more towards cornering performance than outright top speed, as you would need at places like the Le Mans, where the 917K was probably most at home. So yeah, it competed for a few years. Obviously there were various different iterations, the 908/1/2/3 and so on and so forth. So yeah, and this one here is the one that had the sort of the shark fins on the edge of the rear wing above the wheel. That's the year that these were added. So yeah, all in all, it is a fairly impressive car, I would say. In terms of practice and setup though, the biggest problem I had with the setup was understeer. Mostly on the exit of the corner, and I'm sorry I can't remember your name right now, but someone left a brilliant comment last week saying if you have understeer, open up the differential, and that's what I did. I opened up the differential a bit and it made things so much better and so much easier. I wasn't all the way there. I did have to work on things like I had to soften it up a little bit all the way around because it just felt like it was wound a bit too tight. Yeah, cambers, toe out as well help with the front end for turning. Obviously roll bars as well helped soften up the suspension, the spring rate, the rebounds as well. I played around with those. So yeah, I couldn't get it exactly where I wanted to, but I got it to where I felt that I could go out and drive it really quickly, because to be honest I actually ran out of time in terms of the practice and the setup. So even if I did figure out something that I could maybe have done, I didn't have the time to do it. So for those of you who are new to the series, I have 2 hours of practice and setup time, and then I have an hour to do as many time runs as I can, and the best one is the one you see. So yeah, as you would imagine from me though, on the Azure Coast there were a few accidents, and this one we're going to see is actually not from the Magic Roundabout. This is coming down the Great Ocean Highway, and you can take quite a bit of curb on the inside normally, but this one it really unsettled the car. I tried to catch it, and I sort of kind of did, and then it just flipped the other way, and that was pretty much the end of that run. But the majority of the accidents are those horrible niggly ones where you just maybe cut in a little bit too far into a corner and you clip one of those bollards, which are completely just ruin the front end and destroy the steering. It's pulling horribly to the right or the left. So most of the accidents were just like that. So yeah. In terms of the leaderboards and what this thing should be aiming for, well, it falls into the same category as our current number 1 time and current number 4 time on the actual full-blown game leaderboards. Number 4, the Toyota TS050 Hybrid with that 541.3. I think we can confidently say it's not going to get anywhere close to that. To find the best 908 time, though, you have to go all the way down to page number 7 and position 68. Someone called S. Vickers with a biggest Vickers with a 716.5 there. So I'm fairly confident we can beat that. How much we can beat it by, I'm not sure. But on the our leaderboards, I think page 1 is a little bit beyond it. I don't think it's going to be able to do that, but I think it's going to find a home on page number 2. We don't really have anything for it to go up against. You could probably point to, say, the Porsche 917/10 Can-Am car, which is in 13th position, but I think even that will probably be maybe a little bit too far of a reach there. So I'm really not sure where this thing will fall. I'm fairly certain it's going to be on here, whether it's the top end of the page or the bottom end. I think it is going to be on page number 2 of our leaderboards. So yeah. But let's go find out, I reckon. So what we're going to do now is we are going to head down to the track and we are going to see how the Porsche 908/03 Spyder got on its best run. Here we go then, guys. Porsche 908/03 on our Azure Coast hill climb course, and coming down to the first corner now. This was a tricky one. You'd have to be very gentle with the throttle, and you have to get the turning just so. Otherwise it will, as I said, understeer into that central reservation, and that'll pretty much be the end of the run. But coming down into cruise liner corner now, don't get the braking exactly how I would like it, because as you can see there, we've run a little bit wide, but we managed to gather it up, and then don't quite get the apex, which probably sees us run a little bit wide. Like I said, the majority of the understeer you're going to find is towards the back end of corners, so you do have to be, you can sort of manage it with throttle control. But coming over the magic roundabout, taking that at well over 100 miles an hour, this thing was absolutely superb over there. And now down towards Stickman Squats, getting on the brakes, get the turning right, and like I said, you can manage the majority of the understeer towards the back end with just savvy throttle control, but sometimes it just wouldn't cooperate towards the back end. You'll just lose, you just tail off horribly. But after an involved first part of the run, we are on to the Happy Highway, and yeah, this thing was fairly good through there. You can see we're getting up to about 160 miles an hour over the crest, and as we come down to traffic cone corner, I can absolutely just stay absolutely planted through here, just foot to the floor, not even the slightest hint of a lift needed. This thing was absolutely nailed to the floor, and over a little hump there as we come down towards Stonewall corner. And again, this was one that was, again, a little bit tricky. This tends to catch out cars that have that particular understeer characteristic where it tails off towards the back in the corners. But we get through there fine this time. And now we're moving on down to what will be understeer corner. And you can see here, we just get it in, but we just have to really wrestle the car before we can get on the power. And down towards the entrance of Ice Cream Cove. And again, through here, this was pretty good through here, actually. A lot of cars struggled through here recently, but this one was very, very good. And we get on the brakes, don't quite get the apex, so again, we just have to delay getting on the throttle. But down towards what will be Cobra Pass now. And again, through here, it was pretty good. Like I said, once you get in the zone, once you're absolutely dead on with turning and throttle application, this thing is very, very good. And now we're coming down towards the slowest corner on the course, Captain Slow Corner, named after James May. And down there into the 20-mile-an-hour mark to get it through there. And again, we're going to have a big moment here. Just have to add a bit of counter steer before we get back on the power. And getting it through now towards the end of Sector 1. And we're doing quite well at this point. Not going to give away the game because we'll find out the time at the end of it. But again, coming into here, we do have a little bit of an issue. A little bit of a slide there. Managed to gather it up again and get back on the power, down the hill, through Silverstream Village and through Danger Curve there and onto Outrun now. And again through here, absolutely planted. Sometimes you'd have to lift up right about there, but this thing, you just keep your foot down absolutely planted. It was glorious through some of these corners. It really was. And again, we run it a little bit wide, but it's not going to make much of a difference because we get that corner exit absolutely spot on. And away we go again down this long, flat out right hand up and down towards Bridge Curve now. And again, this was another one of the tricky ones. I got it sort of near enough dead on for this one here, but I do feel I maybe could have taken a little bit more speed on the exit and got on the power a little bit earlier, but that was a very, very good turn. And now we're coming into the fearsome Monger McRae Hill Complex now. And again, through the bumps and the jumps, it was pretty good. It would stay, as you can see, pretty much just flat through when you get in the air. A lot of cars either just pitch upwards at the front end or they dip horribly at the front end, and they can lead to some fairly sizable accidents there. But this thing was very, very good through the air. I think those fins on the rear end maybe added, maybe helped it in that respect, but probably not. And through this corner here, get the inside tyre on the grass a little bit, helps you around the corner. And through down towards these next set of jumps, over the Camel Straight, the first hump and then the second hump. And again, just absolutely no bother through any of the jumps. As soon as you get airborne, this thing will just stay absolutely flat pretty much. And through there, Mirage 1 and 2 are pretty good. We didn't quite get the apex on in Mirage 2, but again, we're down now onto the Pogo Stick Straight. And again, over the bumps, just absolutely flat. Don't have to worry about having to lift or make any adjustments before we get over those bumps there. And again, get the inside wheel on the grass to help pull the car through the corner. Again, through here, a little bit of a wobble, but we managed to just keep it on the straight and narrow. And again, through these bumps as well, just absolutely sublime. Really was brilliant car through the jumps and the bumps. And yeah, like I said, I mean, this car was built for things like the Targa Florio, so this is probably where it's most going to, where it's mostly going to be at home and at its most comfortable. But that was the end of Sector 2, and again, we've done well through there. Through here, don't quite get the exit. Probably could have just kept it turned in a little bit more before we got on the power. Maybe got on there a little bit too early, but now we're coming on to the third sector. And this is where most of the cars, a lot of them really do come alive. It really does suit this car as well. And again, just feels like it's just labouring a little bit when we start to get back up to speed now. And down through here, we're going to have a little bit of a shimmy as we come into this this left hand there. We just get on the brakes a little bit too hastily, just lock up the fronts a little bit, but we managed to get through there okay. And down towards Deception, again, no bother through there. Absolutely sublime, superb, whatever. I think I was caught between two words then. But yeah, onto Sweeps now. We get a little bit too deep here, just about keep it out of the fence on the left hand side. We keep on going. Again, that probably cost us a little bit of time there. Didn't quite get it to where I would have liked it, but again, through here, very, very good. And now we come down onto Rocky Road, and this is the area where cars with understeer tend to get caught out, tripped up a little bit. But as we come through this first one down the hill now, again, pretty good. Do have to be a little bit gentle on the throttle when we're applying it, so we don't tail off and into one of those walls or one of these rocky hillsides. But through here and into this this long right-hander, again, this is a corner which really does tend to catch out cars with understeer. And down into the final corner now. Again, very, very good through there. Getting back on the power, being a little bit gentle because this thing can snap, and over the line in a time of 6 minutes 48.459. So I'm quite surprised, actually. I set myself a mental target. I don't know if I mentioned that I wanted to go under 7 minutes with this car, but I'm kind of surprised at how far under the 7 minutes we were. A good 12 seconds there. So very, very impressive time. And it takes it to 16th on our Hill Climb Monsters leaderboard. So probably a little bit ambitious to think that it would have beaten the 917/10 there in 13th place, but it's less than a second off a Ferrari 488 Challenge, and it's beaten the Lamborghini Huracan, the Porsche 935/77 in 18th place. Is beaten that by a good 5 seconds. The Lotus Type 49 seen as well. So that is a very impressive time, I think, all things considered. Had it got a time on the actual full-blown leaderboards in game, it would have been down on page number 6 and position number 56 there. So as we know, the Project Cars 2 leaderboards, once you set a time, anything that falls under that time in the same category will not appear on the leaderboards. But yeah, overall, very good car to drive. I do think there's still a little bit to find in terms of setup, and I do think that I could probably get a cleaner run, but this was my final run of the hour that I had to go and get time runs in. So overall, very impressive and a very, very fun car to drive. But yeah, guys, so that's pretty much the end of today's video. So thank you everybody so much for watching. If you did enjoy this, you would like to see more Project Cars 2 or general racing content from myself, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions for cars you'd like to see me drive in the series, be sure to leave a comment down below. Next week I am going to be taking a look at some of those comments that you've left in recent weeks and also on this video, and I'll be deciding which car I go for based on those suggestions. So if you have one, drop it down below. And also go check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All the links are in the description. Facebook especially, because I tend to put random racing clips. It could be hot laps in Formula 1 or full-blown stages in Dirt Rally 2.0 or anything else that I feel like popping up there. If you want to go see stuff like that, then go and follow me on Facebook. But yeah, once again, guys, thank you everybody so much for watching. Stay cool, and as always, I will catch you in the next video. Peace!